Hi, my name is Rob. Parked outside is Big Rob's van, and on this video I want to talk to you about the simplest solar solution you can put in your van. Now, right off the bat, we should talk about why you might want solar on your van. And if you're like me, you like electricity. I have a lot of things in my van that use electricity. I have a television that I like to run at night. I have a CPAP that I run at night, and I have all kinds of gadgets, from the camera that I'm using right now and the microphone that I'm using right now to all sorts of things that get recharged through USB. So all of that stuff takes electricity, and you can do some of that off of the alternator that runs in your car, or the battery, maybe the cigarette lighter adapter that's in your car. But to do anything off your alternator, your car needs to be running, and you don't want to run down the battery on your car because then you can't start your car. So that's a pretty limited way. So eventually you're going to look at getting a power station. This is an All Powers R2500 power station. I am not trying to sell it to you. I bought it off of Amazon. I paid full retail price. I will put a link down in the notes down there, but I've owned multiple brands, and so this is just a brand. It's a brand that I kind of trust, although the last one I bought did die and I had to send it back. But they do have a pretty long warranty and they swapped it out. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. Now here's the thing. This is a giant battery. This is very similar to the battery that's in your car. You charge this up. It's like any battery. You charge it up, it holds a charge, and you can use the electricity that's stored in here until it runs out. Now, if you're out camping for a day, if you're a weekender like I am, if you have a big enough battery, this is a big battery. This thing has more than 2,000 watt hours, so that is an awful lot of phone recharges and tablet recharges. I can run my CPAP, I can run my refrigerator, I can run everything that I want to run in my van for multiple days without having to recharge this. So if you have a battery that's big enough, you could do that. Now, you may not have a battery that's this big. Again, this is a big battery. So you're going to need to recharge it. Even if you have the world's biggest battery, you got to recharge it at a certain point in time. And if you are a full-time van lifer, you know what a pain that is. You can charge these off of your car's power system, but that again means that your car has to run. So is that free? No, because it's costing you gasoline, right? So that leads us to solar power. Is solar power free? Solar power is free. Once you buy the solar panel, the sun sends its rays down on the panel converts that into usable electricity, and you can charge things. But if you're building your own solar panel system, your own power system, people do it. Lots of people do it. There's lots of videos on YouTube where you can buy batteries, you're gonna need a charger, a solar charge unit. You're gonna need a power inverter. You're gonna need batteries. You're gonna need a lot of stuff. You can build it yourself. It's probably cheaper than the alternative that I'm gonna show you, but is it simpler? No way. You're gonna have to learn about doing stuff. You're gonna be soldering wires and crimping wires. You're gonna be purchasing things. You may purchase the wrong thing. You're gonna go through a lot of stuff. You're gonna do a lot of reading to get all that stuff figured out. So what I'm gonna show you is the simplest possible setup, and that is a solar panel connected to one of these power stations. So again, this is my R2500 power station. Once again, I'm not trying to sell it to you. I just want to show you basically what it does, so because we're going to be showing it here in this video. So real simple. Again, inside here, there's a big giant battery, and the power inverter and things like that you're going to have to purchase if you're building your own battery system or your own solar powered system. Those are all in here already. This already has an inverter. This already has a solar charge controller. It has all those things. So if you own, and it's not just this brand, most of these, all of these power stations that are like this have those things, and whether it is a small Jackery or a big one, or even one that's larger than this, they already have all of those things. So what do you get access to by having a power station like this? Well, you can see Over here, we've got USB ports. It has all these little tabs that keep dirt and dust out. You know, if you're outside camping, you don't want to have dirt and dust get in these ports. So they have these little rubber tabs. But over here, you've got all kinds of USB ports. You got USB-A, USB-C. That's all over in this area. Over in this area, you got your 12-volt ports. There's a big 12-volt port that looks just like the one that's in your car, like a cigarette lighter adapter. You also have these smaller ones. By the way, a lot of people don't use these smaller ones, and I'm going to tell you that they sell adapters for those. I don't remember if I got them on Amazon or eBay, but they have the adapters you need to find because there are different sizes, so find the one that works with your battery. But they have those that just have red and black wire leads, and you can, anything that's 12 volt that you would normally plug into this, you can also plug into those right there. So my Max Air fan, I put an adapter on there so that it plugs into that. And then on the bottom, you've got your traditional, these are 110 outlets. If you're in the US, you're familiar with these. This is what we have in our house. This will power any of your home appliances. And then right in the middle, because this is a big Mamma Jamma battery, we've got a 240 or 220, 240, I don't know. It doesn't matter because I don't own anything that would plug into it, but I don't even know. I mean, I guess I've seen air conditioners that have plugs like that, and I've seen welders. So if that's what you're doing with your battery, I'd love to hear about that. But for me, the 110s, that's the maximum that I need. Now, on one side of this battery, you got these little flip-up things. This is hookups to daisy chain batteries. Not important to this video. I'm not going to talk about it or show it to you. But on this side of the battery, when you flip this up, and by the way, I hate the design of this because no matter how you have this battery, if you're charging stuff, this has to be flipped up. This door will get broken off at some point, I just guarantee you. On this side, you got your 110 plug-in. So if you're charging this unit from a wall, this is what you would plug into. But on this side, there's another adapter, this little small square adapter over here. And this is called an XT60 adapter. Now, I didn't know what an XT60 adapter was last month. I only know that because I'm like you guys. I'm learning this stuff as I go along. But this is the common plug that's used for solar panels. So if you have an XT60 plug on your battery system, on your power generator, then you can buy these adapters and plug things that will go right into that. There are other types of plugs and other types of systems, but that's the one that's on here, and that seems to be the most common. So anyway, this is one half of our system. If you want a solar power system, this is what you're gonna need. Again, not specifically this power station, but a power station that we can store our electricity in. The other half of the equation is the solar panel. Now this is a portable solar panel, which is not what I'm going to be showing you in this video, but I just want to show you for demonstration purposes. This is a portable one. I reviewed this on the channel. Again, not a plug, but this is a solar panel. As you can see, this is a lightweight thing. I think this weighs, I don't know, 10 pounds, 15 pounds, something like that. Not very heavy, but on the back, coiled up in this pocket, are the wires that connect. Now the wires that come out of this are called MC4 wires. They come out, there's a red one and a black one, and they look like they have these little barrel connections on the end of it, and you can buy adapters that are MC4, which is what this is, to XT60, which is what that battery takes. So there's nothing magical, it's just different shapes of connectors. But so I could take this, I could go set this up outside, point it at the sun, take the cables, plug it into that, magic happens. The sun goes into this turns it into electricity, it goes into the battery, and things get charging. But here's the problem. To me, being stealthy is very important, mostly because I do a lot of urban camping. I camp in parking lots, I park downtown, and I don't want people to see my van and immediately go, oh, there's a guy staying in his van. So again, keeping my van as stealth as possible is very important to me. As you can see, my van is completely white. And if you look up at the roof, you'll notice you don't see anything. The only thing that you see is my Max Air fan. And so the Max Air fan is impossible to hide. It's one of those situations, if you know, you know, but I'm gambling that a lot of people don't know. And even, specifically bought one that's white, and it's a white van, so it doesn't really stand out. But here's something that you don't notice when you're looking at my van, is the solar panel. So what you're looking at is a 200 watt all powers solar panel. It is a flexible solar panel, which means it doesn't have that rigid frame that you may be familiar with, like something that you would see mounted on the roof of a house or something like that. It is flexible. You could bend it almost to 180 degrees. And so these are very good for mounting on the top of your vehicle. Now, if you're like me, you don't necessarily want to be putting more holes in your vehicle, in the roof, walls, or anywhere else. So how do you do that? Well, they sell this product, 3M sells it. It's called VHB. It stands for Very High Bond. And it is a tape that is considered to be permanent. Is it permanent? It's pretty permanent. Now, I think you could get it off with a heat gun and a lot of work, but basically, I would consider it to be permanent. And so the first thing I did with mine was I put a layer all the way around the edge of my solar panel. Then what I did was I bought this Flex Seal tape, and I ran Flex Seal tape all the way around the edge of my solar panel. I didn't do a really bang up job on that, but here's the takeaway. Either one of those products would be enough to keep that up there for the life of this van, and I put both. If you're wondering, how long will it last? Well, first of all, I did a research. I found a YouTube video of a guy who's had his on top of his van for more than 5 years. And he lives in the Southwest desert. It's exposed to heat every day, like the worst possible conditions. And his are still on there. They've never budged, they've never moved, nothing has ever peeled. Right after I put this on my van, I drove, this is what I put on there for my 2,000-mile road trip. So I put this on there. I immediately got on the interstate. We did 80 miles an hour. 1,000 miles to West Virginia and 1,000 miles home a few days later, and I double checked. Now, the only thing that did come up, which is interesting, is for some of the cable management, I wasn't sure if I wanted it to be permanent, so I used some white duct tape, and the white duct tape did peel up. But all the permanent tape, all that stuff, there was no problem at all. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna take the new battery, that's a new all powers battery, we're gonna put it in the van, we're gonna plug up the solar, I'm gonna show you just how easy all that stuff is to do. I apologize for the sound of my air conditioner. It is currently 95 degrees, and so that's what you can hear there in the background. But before we put this in the van, one thing I wanna do is turn this on. You hold this button down for just a minute, and that way we can take a look and see what the current battery level is. You can see that there's 0 watts coming in, 0 watts coming out, and we can see the level, the current status, what percentage the battery is currently charged. I will tell you, not for nothing, that newer brands like this have better screens. So this LED screen I can read in my van or in the workshop and on my Fakery batteries, and I'll show you that. You cannot read those at all. I usually have to use my camera to read them because they're just so dim, and if you put on any kind of light, it just reflects off the front. They're impossible to read. So this is a much better screen than my other batteries. Now, if you watched the desk build video, if you know, you know. Now, I wasn't exactly sure how I wanted to do my solar panel wiring. I haven't drilled a hole yet. So what I did was just ran the wires down the back of my van door. It's working for right now, but as you can see, I have this XT60 connector on the end of my cables that are coming from the solar panel. So what I'm gonna do is plug those into my power station, just because it's easier to do when it's out here. Then I'm gonna lift this 65-pound battery, and slide it into position. Just like that. Also, as I mentioned before, I have this connector. This is the connector for my MaxxAir fan. So this goes into one of those smaller 12-volt connectors, so that way I still have the regular car adapter ready to use at any given time. And as you can see, we are getting about 68, 65, 67, 69 watts in. Of course, that is going to vary depending on what's going on with the sun. Now, what's going on with the sun right now? It's an absolutely terrible cloudy day to be making a video for solar panels. So my portable solar panel is a 100-watt solar panel, and the max I was able to get in that thing was about 85 watts. But here's the key to doing that. To get 85 watts, and that's out of a 100-watt solar panel, I had to put it at exactly the right angle pointing at the sun. So there's an easy test. I learned this on YouTube. Point your solar panel at the sun and then take a soup can, like a Campbell soup can, and put it on your solar panel. And if you can see any shade or shadow on that thing at all, it's not at the right angle. You need to adjust it and get it to where you don't get a shadow. I mean, that's as best as you're gonna get it in your backyard or when you're out camping or something. And I did that, and even doing that, I got 85% basically, so 85 watts out of 100 watts. Now, here's the problem with this setup. I can't do that. I mean, I guess theoretically I could park on a hill and park the van at a 45-degree angle, but I'm probably not gonna do that. This is not an ideal solution. I thought it was, not before I did it, but back before I started, you know, diving into all this van life stuff. I thought getting a solar panel, just sticking it to the top of your van was ideal. Well, it's really not, because it's flat. It's not at that perfect angle. So you're not gonna get the ideal, the perfect amount of electricity conversion, you know. Also, if you're in a really hot area, and again, I mentioned it's actually gone up 2 degrees since I started all this. Now it's 97 degrees. The hotter it is, this is kind of counterintuitive, but the hotter it is, the less efficient your solar panel is. It works better when it's cool. So the best thing would be like a cool summer day with a slight breeze, 70, 80 degrees, something like that, and clear skies. That's where you're gonna get the most efficient solar power coming into your battery system. A day like this, it's cloudy, it's super hot, so the panel's hot, so you got all these things working against you. So again, this is a 200-watt solar panel, and as you saw, we're getting less than 70 watts in. Now, let's talk about what does 70 watts really mean, or 100 watts, or 150 watts, or 200 watts, whatever. Take something, for example, like my CPAP. My CPAP, I think, uses, with the humidifier, about 80 watts. So if you see something that says 80 watts, what that means is 80 watts per hour, okay? So if my CPAP uses 80 watts per hour, if I sleep 6 hours, 80 times 6, 480 watts. 480 watts, right? This is a 2,000 watt hour battery. It's real easy math. You go down, you go, okay, that's 25% of your battery. And so that's where this whole solar thing comes in. Now, I want you to think about one thing. Think about a light bulb. Remember the old light bulbs? Like if you're me, if you're Gen X, you remember the old light bulbs when you were a kid, an 80-watt light bulb, 100-watt light bulb? What does a 100-watt light bulb mean? That means 100 watts per hour. So if you got a 1,000-watt battery, you can only run that light bulb for 10 hours and nothing else. That's not very good, right? But now, think about what we have with LED lights. I have LED lights that are rated for 3 watts. I could run that for a month. I mean, I didn't do the math, but you see what I'm saying? It's so much more efficient. And here's another thing, and I'm not gonna go into super details on this, but it's just something I want you to keep in mind, is that every time you convert electricity from one form to another, from one power rating to another, that uses electricity. That's not magic. You're gonna lose something. So for example, if your car is 12 volts, right? But you plug in a power inverter to change that to AC, and now you got a power inverter and you got something plugged in. You're losing electricity in the process. I think roughly you should just figure on about 10% is a good number to use, okay? So my CPAP, if you look at it, it takes 12 volts to run. I think it actually takes 18 volts, but that's what it takes, right? But the power brick that came with it is a 110 power brick, so I can plug it into my wall in my bedroom, okay? So when I plug it in, I'm getting 110, but then it has to drop it down to 18 volts, right? You follow me? So when it does that, there's a loss of electricity. In our houses, we don't notice that. It doesn't matter to us, okay? But in the van, when we have limited electricity, because we got these power stations, every time you convert electricity like that, it's important. So it's a lot more efficient to take an LED light that has a USB plug on it and plug it into the USB port than it is to take that exact same light and plug it into a 110 wall adapter and plug that into this, because that's got to go to 110 and then it's got to drop it back down to that USB, that smaller power rating. So the point of that is, on my CPAP, I looked online and on Amazon, I found a car adapter, a 12 volt adapter. So when I plug that in, it's not having to go from 12 volts to 110 volts to back down to those 18 volts. You see that? Every time there's a step like that, you're losing electricity. So you're wasting electricity that you've got stored in here. Your hard-earned electricity. You either put electricity in here by charging it at your house, you dragged it into Starbucks. I hope you're not dragging a 70-pound battery in and out of Starbucks, but if you've got a smaller one, maybe you're doing that. Or what you got from, your solar panel. So that's electricity that you want to keep and you want to use, so don't waste it by converting. So if you have something like that, the TV's folded down right now, but they sell TVs that will run off of 12 volts. Now modern TVs are so efficient, they just don't use that much. And on my last video, I did a thing where I plugged in the TV. I have a Roku, I have a Raspberry Pi, which is a little game playing computer. They're all kind of USB devices, and my digital TV antenna, and all those things combined, we're only using 19 watts. But that being said, you just want to be efficient. You want to keep in mind your power usage. So again, that's something to keep in mind. If you're paying extra for a 200 watt solar panel. 200 watt solar panel, that's what I bought. Am I getting 200 watts in? No, I'm getting less than 70. The best I've ever got, and this was on a beautiful sunny day while driving down the interstate, was about 130, 135. Now, I'll tell you one other thing real quick. This battery, and some batteries, it just depends on the ones that you buy, but this battery has an app, and you can use that app on your phone, and you can check and see all your statistics, including how many watts are coming in. So if you're parked somewhere and maybe you're in the shade under a tree and you check, you open that app and you look and you go, I'm getting 15, 20 watts in. You may want to move. You may want to pull out from underneath that tree. I mean, trees give us shade and they keep our vans cool, but it also blocks that solar panel. So it depends on what's more important to you that day. Hey, if the battery's fully charged and it's a hot day, I'm getting under that shade. But if it's a medium day and this battery's at 50%, I'm gonna have to leave it out. Maybe I'll just pull the cab under the tree and leave the back half. One final thing I will say, there are lots and lots of websites. There's all kinds of information out there. People have been doing solar and all this stuff for 50 years or more. So there's a lot of information. But one of the things that you may be interested in is daisy chaining solar panels. I'm gonna tell you this as simple as possible. You can hook them up in parallel, you can hook them up in series. You can Google those two things because they each have pros and cons for doing that. But if you're gonna hook it up, like daisy chain them, the easiest way, you can buy these adapters on Amazon and you can literally put another panel up there and just plug the hot into the hot and run both of those hots into your battery and the negative of the other one into the negative of the other one and run those down in here and plug that in. So that would double your input. But one inputs the number of watts, the other one doubles the number of amps. So you need to double check and see what your battery is capable of. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into that on that video. That's something that you could look up. If you got questions about it, you can always email me. All my contact stuff is down there. You can go to BigRobsVan.com/links, and that has all the ways to contact me, including my email address. So if you have a question about solar or you just wanna talk about solar, drop me an email. We'll chat about it. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, all the stuff. Or you can leave a comment right here on YouTube. We'll talk about it here. A lot of people do the buy me a coffee, and it is figuratively, but as I always like to say, mine is quite literal. Coffee fuels the projects. I've got van projects to work on today, and this is going to fuel them. So thank you to everybody who has purchased me a coffee. I do appreciate it, and I appreciate the coffee. Hey, look, the sun finally came out. Take a final look here. Well, it's a little better than it was. I have been a sticker collector for years, and finally I have a place to start putting stickers of places I've gone to. And some people that I know, Get Her Better. If you're not following Get Her Better on YouTube, great van lifer. This is Mammoth, the people that sent me the replacement lid for my drinks. We've got the Airstreamers. If you're not following the Airstreamers on Twitch, great gaming channel. Some of the places that I've already gone in West Virginia, of course, we went to go see the monsters. We've been to the Spam Museum, this Arkansas sticker we got during the eclipse. So everywhere I'm going, I'm trying to add a sticker. So, and by the way, right here is a new fancy Big Rob's Van sticker. So if you would like a Big Rob's Van sticker, either go join my Patreon and I'll send you one. And by the way, to my Patreon people, I owe you a sticker. I'm gonna be sending those out this week. You can either join the Patreon, or if you got a sticker, send me a sticker. I'll send you one of my stickers, and we can, maybe I'll add the stickers of my YouTube friends over on the other side. So that's all we've got right now. Go get you a solar panel, get you a solar generator, a power generator, and let's start getting electricity for free.